Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Helm Developer Weekly call. It is July 20th, and we follow the CNCF community guidelines. And looks like we always start with announcements, so please put them into the meeting notes. It looks like we don't have any announcements yet, but we do have some topics. Thanks, George. So again, drop any other topics into the notes. Or any shout outs. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I guess I do have one small announcement. We did submit the maintainer talk session for the upcoming KubeCon. So that did get submitted before the deadline, like 2 hours. We cut it close. It's in.
Yes, thank you. I was going to ask, but I didn't want to be like, you just make it.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Should we talk about what the submission was, or should we be surprised? What did you submit?
George, you want to, I'll let you. This was your idea.
Sure. Well, I was kind of following on from what kind of you said, Karina, to be honest, that I think at least from my perspective as well, from doing triage, the majority of Helm's focus in the last year has been on stability, bug fixes, support, and minor improvements rather than large features. So I was going to talk some about how we do these things.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'll be there in the audience.
Yes.
Cheering you on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought a ticket. I think talking gets me a free ticket, but I just organized my whole trip before those logistical parts got sorted out. But so I'm organized to go at least.
If you have a coworker or something, like someone else in your company who can take your ticket, you can talk to registration and have them swap stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to ping me about that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Might do. It's probably worth sorting out. It's like $1,000 or something. So. Righty.
Okay. Hopefully you don't hear my background noise. Thank you. So our first discussion topic is George. George, would you like to talk about the board's compatibility?
So yeah, so basically where this came from was I was looking at how Helm could switch to server-side apply, and it's probably, without actually looking at the code, like the theory is pretty simple, with the exception that someone could deploy a chart with server-side apply enabled, and so all the manifests would be rendered effectively that way, and then they could come back and use an old version of Helm, and I don't know, at least Kubernetes you can do this with kube control as well. But given our wide-ranging user base, the main concern is if people do this, they might encounter weird errors and situations, and it's just going to translate into help my Helm chart failed to update. So I was wondering how has Helm had to deal with this sort of scenario previously? Is it something that we consider to be supported, that you can go back to old versions of Helm and do things which have been done by new versions of Helm? And then,
yeah, I mean, there are some things. That's why it's also opt-in, right? So if somebody is using Helm and they want to go do this, they should probably use server-side apply consistently across their environment when they do it, which is why you make it an opt-in. So if they're using the old behavior, it doesn't break them. There are things where we have been additive in that way, or if they switch back to an older version of Helm, there will be problems with it. Most of the time, anything outside of charts, like occasionally we've added a new function that you can use in a chart and you can only use that in certain versions. In those cases, you can actually mark in the chart, it only supports this version of Helm. So you use the newer version, you can do that. And then older versions of Helm will catch it and stop. For something like this, because it's a CLI command, we don't have that capability to do that. And so there are times where we have added certain things like that in. I'm trying to remember. They're rare, but that comes to the users and making sure they do things consistently.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
there isn't really a way to say the older version will support it, right? You grab Helm 3.8 and it's never going to support server-side apply. And so if
Correct.
somebody goes back and forth, they're going to run into a problem. And we don't have a way to, for an old version to introspect right now to say, hey, this was created with a newer version that used this feature we don't support. We don't actually have a way to introspect that metadata in Helm. That sounds like a really neat thing to do in Helm 4, but Helm 3 does not have that kind of functionality. In Helm 4, I could actually see us adding a section to say the Helm secret where we keep certain configuration information to list certain features that were used. But that also runs into the problem of space. All that takes more space and storing more in secrets. But that could be a neat Helm 4 thing.
Okay, there was going to be a follow-up discussion as to whether Helm would be interested in providing some sort of like either version-based or feature-based check to say this Helm chart was deployed with server-side apply, and then an old version of Helm could say, I don't understand what that is, so I'm going to error. But it would also have to be built into all old versions of Helm.
Yeah, there's nothing like that today. Yeah, there's nothing like that today.
Okay, and I agree. So to me, it comes down to two things. Then, is one is like how much of a problem is this actually practically cause? If it's going to affect like a very small number of charts, if you do flip flop and people do it for a small number of times, then as in I agree they should be consistent, but you know how people are.
Your inconsistency is probably going to come more with CRDs. Helm on core resources does a 3-way merge, but it does not do that on custom resources, because when custom resources started, you didn't have that option. Now the option's there. We had long talked about doing that as an opt-in, another feature flag where you could get it. But I don't think that was never implemented. But if you go over to server-side apply, I think that works there. And so you might see, and so you're going to see differences in how custom resources are applied using a 3-way merge instead. That's the one thing that catches my mind.
Okay. Yeah, so I think because server-side apply would definitely be opt-in, at least for Helm 3.
Yeah,
it would be then up to users to use it consistently, and then depending on how much of a problem it was, if they did use it inconsistently, I think would have to consider what the best option would to be. But yeah, things like custom resources, server-side apply does support them. I have that in my it's not really any way, shape, or form ready for sharing. It's more like notes in those HIP sections, but that's one of the things I've captured. So anyway, okay, I think that gives me enough information to write this stuff down. Thank you.
George, I'm trying to remember, were you putting together a HIP for this idea? Okay, cool. I'd love to see that. Do you have it like
yeah,
a
so
draft or anything?
I should hopefully have a draft in the next few days. Right now,
Okay,
it's
cool.
mostly notes, but yeah, let me structure it a little more suitable for sharing, and then I can certainly share a draft. There'll still be some to-dos and things, but like I want to go through the key control code and stuff like that. But I can certainly share it before I get time to do that.
It'd be cool if I don't know if you might already have this, but like an example of like when the behavior would be different between the current and the next and the server side apply.
That's a good idea. I need to understand where things can go wrong better.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
You look lost in thought, Matt.
No, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, just get it documented. That sounds good. And I look forward to seeing this keep moving along. If you've got
Awesome.
questions, feel free to ping me in the background or ping anybody else. Happy to respond.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm excited to see that HIP too. No pressure, George. Okay, we don't have any other.
Slowly making progress.
Nice. All right, we don't have any other discussion topics right now. Does last call? Okay. Call for next week, moderator, notes, triage.
I
PR
can moderate.
I can do triage again.
I won't be here next week.
I can do notes then. Oh, sorry, I'm in the
Actually-
wrong account if you want to have those.
Sorry, could I make one more question? I've seen some people asking for PR reviews, like they just brought up old things, or when people chase, it's because people want, which is unfortunately sometimes how things work. If you don't keep on hassling people, you don't get your things done. But do you want me to try and raise these up to you, Joe or Matt, if you've got time to review things, or you just not
Sure.
having time
I'm
so-
trying to carve out a little bit of time each day right now. I haven't had much time the last couple of weeks, either because of vacation or something else, but I'm going to try and carve out a little time each day to look at something in Helm.
Yeah, I
Cool.
spend about an hour a day. And right now, what I've been doing is I've been going from the bottom up, finding the oldest things, either deciding that they're abandoned and closing them, or getting them merged if they're small enough that I can do it by myself. Once I get past all the extra smalls and smalls, then it'll start requiring more effort. But yeah, I'm trying to work my way up from the bottom and just get as much as I can done.
Okay, I'll try and collect a small number of things that people seem to be chasing on, and hopefully we can maybe make some progress on those if people are asking.
Yeah,
And
pinging it by at least 2 a day.
in curiosity, did Michael's get closed that he was asking to have the second review on? Not
I've
yet.
only
I don't
closed.
think so.
I've only closed things that, I only closed them if they had change requests, and those change requests were more than, well, usually about a year ago.
Well, that was the one, I think Andy did initial review. or
Yeah,
Matt.
yeah, it's on my open list.
Okay. Little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks
Did
everyone.
I look at that one yet? That's good.
Do you want Joe to look at it, Matt?
Sure.
I honestly, I can look through the notes. I don't remember which one it was.
Well, if you've got the
I don't
tab
have
open, if you already got the tab open, Matt, you can just share the link with me.
Yeah. I've got about 200 tabs open, so when I find it, I'll send it over to you.
Is it this one?
I know that story.
This is from July 6th. These are just two that I see he posted.
This is one of them.
Is the 11,790 the other one?
Oh, Joe's already approved it,
Okay,
so I
Did
need
it-
to go look at it.
okay.
All right. In fact, I'll do that. Put that on my list for today. So when I get off this call, I was in the midst of doing Helm things right before, doing the call, doing things after. I'll just leave this open and go after it.
Okay. I was just seeing Ian's comment. The worst when I have to close out all my tabs.
I'm always like, I'm gonna go back and
500
read that.
tabs closed.
Yeah. Do you know,
Yeah.
in I use Safari now, but in Chrome you can actually search tabs. No, I just forget the shortcut.
I do that all the time.
Wait, how?
If you,
Yeah,
Good.
you go Chrome next, you probably remember.
So-
There's a little button in the far upper right hand corner that searches tabs in Chrome on desktop. On Chrome on phone, it's like, I don't even know why they let you open so many tabs, because they're just completely unmanageable. It just like collects in the background unlimited.
Thanks
I-
for
Yeah, I actually on desktop, I use an extension called Tab Hunter. I know the guy who's the author. It looks a little funny, but it does things like highlight duplicates. So if you do searches and you've got the same one open 4 times, you can see you have it open 4 times, and right from there, just close 3 of them.
nice
Get to it.
Sounds,
That has saved my butt.
memory optimization.
Yeah.
I think I need that one.
It can search for things just playing audio. When you got a few hundred tabs open and you're trying to figure out which one's playing the audio across, 6 or 7 windows, it isn't so easy.
I'm gonna go download that.
All right. Do we have anything else?
I think that's it.
That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.